Okay, I'm gonna keep this video very, very simple. I'm literally going off the cuff over here, but in this video, I wanna show you how you as a creator or business owner can turn the attention that you have on social media into sustainable and predictable revenue for you and your business. This is the exact same system we've used to help established creators like Cameron over here go from selling $10 subscription models, which was exactly what he did when he started working with us, all the way to closing 6K GBP deals, as you can see over here on our private chats. Now I'm going to show you a few more case studies of people who have actually implemented this as well, so you can see that it actually works. For example, Saul Hyde, he made 27K in direct revenue using our automated sales processes. Testimonial is live publicly on our YouTube. We got Jacob here where we made 66K in a 4-week sales window for their cohort offer using these exact systems. Same thing, testimonial is live on YouTube. Benny, who booked 80K worth of deal value on his business in less than 2 days from his content. Same thing with Matthias, where he did a 3K retainer offer and has landed deals with really, really big names in the space. And it goes on and on and on. We got Tori, who got 203K followers. She had a business where she was only booking like 0 to 3 sales appointments. And after working with us, she started booking 3 sales appointments per day for her very own business. So I'm gonna run you through the exact systems that we've used on people like Tori, on Saul, on Jacob, on Benny, so that you can do the exact same for you. And this applies both to you if you're a business owner who wants to scale, but mainly for creators like Cameron over here who have an established following, but they want to figure out how they can monetize it. So let's go ahead and dive into everything together right now. So here's the 5-step roadmap breakdown. The first thing is you want to go ahead and create an offer that's so stupid to say no to. This is very, very obvious, but I'm going to walk you through exactly how to actually do this. So when you're selling as a business in the beginning, unless you're really, really advanced, you want to sell at something called high ticket. High ticket is when your price is north of $1,000. This is when your price becomes less of an impulse purchase and more of a considered purchase. So what is an impulse purchase? An impulse purchase is like, if I'm hungry, I want to go ahead and quickly buy on impulse a chocolate bar at the store. An impulse purchase is also, I saw this nice video from somebody, he sells a $10 monthly subscription like Cam. I'm going to go ahead and just pay it on impulse to see what it's about. When it gets north of $1,000, everything starts to become more considered, meaning that people will actually think about it. And if you want to sell at a high ticket price that's north of $1,000, you need to make sure that you angle your offer towards one of these 4 end results. Now, this is exactly what a mentor who's done millions of dollars in online sales taught me, and it's what I apply to myself and to my clients. And every single time I get proven right about this. So these 4 end results are very, very simple. It's more money. So if you sell more leads, more revenue, more clients, or more traffic to attract certain clients, that's a very powerful offer. Another one is better relationships. If, for example, you have an offer where you help people find their soulmates, that is a very valuable offer that people will pay high ticket for. The loneliness epidemic is huge. Afterwards, it's less pain. So if I help reduce your symptoms of chronic fatigue or long COVID, that's something that you'd pay a lot of money for because it stops you from doing things that you love in your life, like maybe sports, running marathons, or just going outside and spending time with friends and feeling like a normal person. The next one is more beauty. Just look at the cosmetics and the beauty industry and even the fat loss industry. Absolutely huge. So if your offer is going to be sold at a high ticket, it has to be angled towards one of these 4 or one or more of these 4 end results, not to the deliverables themselves. For example, if you're helping people with content, you don't want to say, I will help you with content. Pay me $5,000 for this. Instead, you want to say, I will help you build a personal brand that gets you clients and earn your financial freedom for $5,000. All of a sudden, it sounds a lot better, right? Or for example, for the less pain end result is, we will give you EMDR therapy. No, it's we will reduce your long COVID symptoms and help you win back your physical and mental health using EMDR. All of a sudden, the positioning of your offer sounds so much more valuable, and people will be much more willing to pay a higher ticket price for it just for the way that its position sounds. It is that simple, because if you share a message that you just help people with content, or you just help people with dumbbell curls in the gym, that's not what they want. What they want is one or more of these end results. So always think about angling your offer towards these things. Next thing is, how do you actually build the offer? Like, what's inside of it? This is something that a lot of people don't understand. And it's very, very simple. They're like, what do I put into my offer that'll make me sell it at a higher tier price? And the answer is very, very simple. You want to use what I call the reverse engineering framework over here. So what the reverse engineering framework is that when you start a business, or even when you shoot content, usually you'll be shooting content to a very, very specific persona. That's called the person that you serve, or the ideal client persona, ICP as I call it. And so that ICP is going to have a ton of things that they're scared about, a ton of things that keeps them up at night, a ton of problems that they have that are stopping them from reaching their goals. And they're also going to have a lot of dream states, so things that they're working towards, things that they want to achieve. So if you've done your research well, you'll know all of these things. And the way that you make your offer no-brainer is by reverse engineering every single pain point into a solution. And you can either make that solution for them to do it themselves, done with you, so when you do it together, or done for you, where you do it for them. So for example, I'm going to show you guys a few of the pain points that my ICP had. One of the pain points that they had was they didn't want to look like a fucking guru online, which is totally fair. I don't want to look like a guru online. So the solution that I added into my offer was, we will help you one-on-one with authentic positioning that's going to help you protect your brand while still selling a premium offer without looking like a sellout. Another one was, they don't know how to package an offer. If you're watching this video, you probably don't know how to package an offer as well. It's exactly what we're talking about. So a solution in my offer became, we will help you one-on-one to create your offer, package it, and make sure that you can charge a high price for it. So all of a sudden, I basically handled two objections that they may have had when working with me or saying yes to my offer. And if you do this across the entirety of your ICP's pain points, and if you're very, very diligent with your pain points, and you get somebody to see you handling every single pain point or objection that they have, that's how your offer becomes a no-brainer. If you get specific enough with the pain points and the offer becomes a no-brainer, it's because you were able to solve their deepest and most specific pain points and not just give them a generic promise. And this is how you create an offer where it's stupid to say no to. Next one is, you want to go ahead and charge so high that it scares you. I'm going to tell you guys a little story of my pricing journey. In the beginning, because I'm Asian, you know, our parents, we always look for the best deals. And growing up, it's always trying to not take up space or not order the most expensive thing on the menu. And because of that, our parents, it's just part of the culture. What that causes is that we think that going cheap actually increases the value of an offering, when in fact it does the complete opposite. I want to go ahead and do a parable and compare two different people right now. Before we do that, I want to first go ahead and say something very, very important, which is that price isn't a reflection of the value that you provide for somebody. Price for your offer is actually a marketing and a positioning strategy for you. Let me explain what I mean by this. If you get the price right, two things happen. Number one, it drives real revenue, so you earn more money by charging a higher price. And number two, it makes you be perceived as something expensive. And if you're expensive, it means that you must do good work. Whereas if you're cheap, you must do cheap work. Those are the associations that people make when you charge low or high. Let's go to the parable over here. Imagine two people selling the identical offer. They got the same product. It gives the same results. It has the same value. It's the exact same thing. Person A charges $500 and person B charges $20,000. Let's look at person A right now who charges $500. This person, he looks cheap, which reads as, why is this so cheap, to anybody who's established. So anybody who's actually about it will have this question come up, and the buyer is going to project that cheapness onto the provider. It feels sketchy, so they write the offer off. From my experience, it actually feels like a lot of money for them. They're the ones who ask the most, actually. My most nightmare clients were the ones who I charge them really, really low. And when I first started, I used to give performance models where I used to work for free, and I'd give them my blood, sweat, and tears. And they were my very worst clients because they expected so much. These are the buyers that come back with the highest expectations and the most chargeback. So when you charge low, this is what happens in the psychology of the buyer. They're going to think cheap. And if they think your offer is cheap, they're going to think you're cheap as well. And you're going to turn these established guys off. Cool. And let's go now and talk about the person who's charging $20,000. All right. It's going to alienate like 99% of their total addressable market on purpose. And it's only going to speak to the 10% or 1% who can actually pay. Straight away, just by making that price the way it is now super targeted towards a very specific persona. somebody's going to see that and immediately self-qualify themselves to be like, this is within the things that I usually pay for that help me get the quality of service that I want. These 1 or 10% of established owners with real budgets and not beginners, they are the real clients that you want to work with, the ones who operate at a high level and the ones who know the reality of what service providing is like. This person charging a premium, it therefore makes his offer be perceived as premium. Right now, the people who are looking at this offer, they don't know what the offer actually is. They haven't seen the results. They also haven't seen the way that it works on the back end. Just by charging high, this person, B, managed to create this feel of authority just because they added a few zeros to their price tag. That's it. That's what I mean by how price allows you to position yourself in a way that attracts people, but also positions yourself as an authority. Next thing is that buyers who pay 20K obviously have a lot of skin in the game. 20K is not nothing to them, so they'll fully be able to implement what you say, loads of commitment. And the full implementation from a well-resourced and easy to work with client is what produces the best results and the best case studies, or the type of clients that create the worst case studies because they're beginners, so naturally hard to go ahead and scale or to get results for. And also they have super high fucking expectations. So it's hard to work with them. And so the takeaway here is that you want to charge a price that scares you. Obviously, if you're beginning, don't charge 20K, or do, you can back that 20K up. But go ahead and pick a price that feels a bit scary. Charge high, all right? Don't fall into the trapness of cheap. And you're going to be forced to sell on every benefit that a high price creates. And you're going to be filtering for changing your perception. You're going to be getting better commitment and also better results. Great. Moving on to the third step, which is one of the most important. It's actually my favorite one. This is exactly what helped people like Cam get that 6K deal, even though they've never sold a higher tier offer before. I want to tell a quick story. I fucking hate chess match sales. I hate like that Wolf of Wall Street, go off the script type of sales where you're trying to back the person you're selling to into a corner and going for that gotcha moment where you finally handle off their objections and you take their money and manipulate them, getting the money from their bank account into yours. That is horrible, and that is the best way to ruin your reputation and turn everybody off from working with you, right? So this is what 99% of the industry does, and it's exactly why sales has a reputation of being slimy. So you want to go ahead and not do this, because if you do, you're going to ruin your reputation before you've even built one. The alternative to this is called the authentic selling framework. And it's built on 7 whys. It's exactly what McKinsey does when they're consulting for big enterprises. They say that the answer to most questions lies beyond the 7th why. And it's exactly how we operate over here. For example, when you're doing sales calls, it's like the way I do sales calls is I want to know the deep core desires as to why somebody is moving away from something. So why they want to move away from the pains that they have, why they want to go ahead and reach their goals, like why are these goals important to them, why they have a sense of urgency, and why they want to solve this now as opposed to in 3 to 6 months, and also what their cost of inaction is. Because I generally want to go ahead and figure out what these core desires are. So these are the main things that I want from a sales process. Why? Because it allows me to really understand why people are taking action over here. And if I can understand why people are taking action, I can, number one, genuinely relate to what they're saying. And I can also position my solution as something that will genuinely help them, and not as something where I'm just here to run them through a script and take their money. Because what this does is, instead of you being against the lead, so chess match sales, it puts you with the lead and you guys are both working towards the problem. And I'm going to keep on diving deeper into what their motivations are. For this process, when you're selling, all you're doing is you're asking why, and anybody can do that. And also through that process, it allows you to really understand the reason why people want to go ahead and work with you. And that's how you can actually have a real conversation and position yourself as an authentic salesperson, which is what actually gets the deals through for most people, as opposed to trying to go for the gotcha moment. So, like I said, this turns the sales conversations from a you versus them into a you and them versus the problem situation. You're not persuading over here. You're asking questions like a doctor with genuine curiosity and not manipulation. And you want to also open the call with straight talk. Like, I hate beating around the bush. Every time I do sales calls, I literally tell them, hey man, look, I don't want to treat you like a lead in my funnel over here. I'm not going to try and hard sell you. You're here because you feel like there's a potential solution. I'm providing that solution, and to see if we can find a good way forward where both of us are happy, I just want to get into your pain states, your goal states. I want to see if you have a level of urgency that can work for this collaboration. And from there, if everything checks out, not just for me, but for you, I can go ahead and give you a high level pitch and we can do our best to find a solution forward. Sound fair? That's literally how I open my calls. It works so well. It stops everything from sounding like a performance, which is not what you want, right? Once you do that, you want to just pitch a solution once you've got their pain, goal, and urgency. And you want to make sure that everything checks out on both sides. And this works really, really well for anybody who has no sales experience, because you don't need to have sales experience to do this. This framework alone, by the way, has helped me generate over $800,000 in revenue for myself and clients, make really strong testimonials, as you've seen. And it's because people trust a process that never has to beat around the bush. Next, hiring an A-player team. The thing about hiring is that early on when you're first starting your business is you can't afford a true A-player. These guys are really expensive. They're getting headhunted by the biggest companies. And what you want to hire instead is raw talent that you can mold into somebody who's dedicated, coachable, and actually bought into your mission. The way that we do this is very, very simple. I'm going to get really tactical over here, is that you want to go ahead, number one, find out where you need to have leverage. So for example, if you're running a business and you're doing marketing, an editor is the best person to hire first. If you're doing loads of tasks at the same time and you find yourself stuck in busy work, then you want to go ahead and hire a affordable VA who's from the Philippines or Southeast Asia or South America. What this allows you to do is it allows you to win back your time, because your main focus as a business owner needs to be focused on actually building the brand and making strategic decisions in the business, not doing things like editing, sending follow-ups, or doing administrative tasks that take up a lot of your time and create what I call decision fatigue. So the question is now, how do you find these people? So number one, you want to go on job boards like Upwork, Fiverr, onlinejobs.ph. There's tons out there online, and you want to run them through a hiring process that goes ahead and screens people for 4 main criteria. This is what we've implemented for ourselves and our clients, and it works extremely well for getting the right hires, because hiring in the beginning is fucking hard, right? It's very, very tough because you need to understand people. But if you use this framework, you'll be able to make the right hires. So what are these 4 signals? Number 1, it's speed of communication. Number 2, it's speed of turnover. Number 3, it's coachability. And number 4, it's speed of revision. So this means that if you can find somebody who responds fast, you find somebody who delivers fast, you find somebody who can implement feedback when they're given it, you can find somebody who can implement the feedback quickly, you've got yourself some raw talent that can be created into an A player. Okay, so how do you actually run a hiring process that screens for this? First thing is, hiring works exactly like sales. Okay, in sales, you want to shoot more content to get more traffic. More traffic gets you more followers or leads. More leads gives you more conversations. More conversations gives you more calls. More calls gives you more closes. Same exact thing in recruitment. So the more people you get to apply to your job description, the more interviews you're going to get, the more trial runs you're going to get, the more final candidates you're going to be able to choose from. What you want over here is options. So here's exactly how we run our hiring funnel, step by step. Number 1, post a job everywhere, all right? Run a job description, post it on Fiverr, Upwork, onlinejobs.ph, Instagram, Twitter, X, LinkedIn, everywhere that you can, all right? And even send individual outreach to get the maximum applicants at the top of your hiring funnel. Step number 2, you want to ask them to send over a Loom video explaining why they're a fit. This is where you disqualify for the first round on people who send bad Looms, regurgitated Looms, or you can tell straight away when a Loom is bad, right? And Loom is free. It's very easy to do, and be able to tell immediately whether somebody is actually serious or not. Next step is that you want to run a 15-minute vibe check interview to see if they're a culture fit. Ask them to talk about them, their life, what their goals are, what they want to do, what they like. And same thing over here, like when you have a conversation with a normal person, if they're not a fit, you'll know pretty much instantly. Step number 4 is you want to go ahead and run a training phase that tests the actual skill that you're hiring for. So for example, if you're hiring an editor, get them to edit a video for you. If you're hiring for an appointment setter, get them to run a role play where they book you onto a call. You can do this as much as possible until you get conviction that this person is good or not. Again, run another filtering step over here on the people who will pass or fail. Step number 5 is you want to run the final interview like a sales call. This is going to be a very important call where you make sure that their goals and their values and their mission is aligned with yours. So here you go ahead and really talk about what their goals are, because the thing about running a business and the thing about leading a team is that you got to realize nobody cares about your goals in business. Your employees don't really care about your goals in business, Tesla or Apple, something that's going to change the world. Most of the time, people just don't care. What they do care about though is their own goals and their own dreams. And that's what they're going to pour their blood, sweat, and tears into. So when you're hiring people as a business owner, if you want to get the maximum output from the people that you hire, you want to make sure that you build enough space within the business where the people you work with feel like they're working towards their own goals when they're pushing your own. So for example, when I work with my editors, I got two. There's one editor who wants to be a creative director. The other one wants to have her own agency. And every single time we have a meeting, I literally coach them on how to reach their goals. I tell my editor how to run an offer. I tell them how to go ahead and market themselves. I tell them how to do outreach. So they actually leave with next steps on reaching their own dreams and goals. And because of that, I get loyalty and I get commitment and I get output on the goals for my business, which is basically getting edited videos out at a high quality. If you can do the same thing, and if you find an A player, that's exactly how you can get people to really crush it within your business. And so this is why step number 5 is very important, because by the end of it, you're going to be left with finalists who are a strong culture fit and can be incentivized and led long term. And you want to go ahead and just make sure that you can cater for their goals and make sure that them working with you helps them build their goals and dreams as much as it does yours. Very, very simple. That just means becoming a better leader. Now, the 5th and final step of this framework is authority positioning. So I want to share something that I learned in the business, which is that I used to think that my Instagram profile didn't mean jack shit. Like I didn't really care about optimizing it, but everything changed when I started getting people reaching out to me. And basically, I had a problem where when I first started marketing my business in April of 2025, before I was doing complete like cold outbound, I was doing referrals, I was not like doing inbound marketing for my business. I was having such a hard time getting people onto calls with me, and I had such a hard time getting those calls to close. It felt impossible. And the thing that changed everything was I got to a point where I was about to go broke because I was not getting any clients. I went ahead and I looked at the people that I looked up to online who I felt like if they pitched me and I said yes, they would get me the results. People like Alex Ramosi, Russell Brunson, Iman Ghazi. And I basically looked at why they could create that effect on me. The effect of me feeling like they would help me out if I paid them a lot of money. Even though I don't know them and I don't know what their offers are. And I wanted to see how I could recreate the authority positioning that they had on me to my own clients. And I managed to create something that I call the proof of results framework, which is right over here. And this is basically what all these guys did, like Alex Ramosi, which is where they had insane amounts of proof, results, and case studies spread across their entire social ecosystem. And so once I implemented this proof of results framework on my own Instagram page, everything changed. It was super fucking weird. I was getting people who used to say like, who the fuck are you? Stop talking to me. Say things like, look, Matt, you look like the person who can get me the results that I want. How can I work with you? The crazy part here was that my offer didn't change, but the only thing that changed was my audience's perception of me, where they perceived me as somebody who was expensive and somebody who could bring them the results that they wanted. And it was because I implemented this proof of results framework. And what happens is when you're reaching out to people or when you're marketing an offer, is that when people see your profile or when they see a message from you, the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to click on your profile. And they're going to make a decision within the first like 1 to 5 seconds on whether or not they like you, they trust you, and they believe that you go ahead and help them with their problems. It's a really, really quick decision. And what you want to go ahead and do is use this proof of results framework where you go ahead and you understand how to go ahead and identify, collect, and distribute your proof across your entire social ecosystem. But it's basically saying the same thing, which is where in order to do this, collect and distribute, you want to go ahead and see where are the areas in your touch points with your audience, your clients, where you're creating a positive experience. Because positive experience means that you can receive positive feedback, and positive feedback is proof that you're good at something. And so you want to first identify these touch points, and then you want to go ahead and know how to collect the positive feedback. And collecting positive feedback is literally just asking people for it. So I don't know if anybody had the same issue. If you're watching this, you once created a big breakthrough for a client or a person that you worked with or a friend, and you wanted to go ahead and ask for a positive review. One day, and then afterwards, it just felt weird to ask them to film that testimony or that piece of review. I promise you right now, if you just go ahead and ask somebody every time you give them a positive experience, they're gonna give you a review. And that review is something you can collect and then distribute. So how do you distribute it? Very simple. I like to view your personal brands or my personal brand as having loads of free real estate. So my bio, my stories, my story highlights, my pinned posts, my hooks on my scripts. Once I have all of my proof, I want to just go ahead and distribute that proof across all of the free real estate, like the places I just mentioned. So whenever somebody hops into my profile, they have no choice but to see the proof that I have, that I am the person that I say I am, and that I can get the results that I say I have. And that comes with understanding how to literally shove your proof down people's throats so that they make that unconscious decision that you're somebody who can help them. And that's so important because it's what allows you to build trust and conviction in yourself and your brand with people who don't know you from the internet. And that is the proof of results framework. I got a little bit passionate over there, but I can't stress how important it is, right? And so what happens here is if you execute on this properly is everyone who lands in your profile is going to see end results and make the, hey, they can solve my problem decision in their minds instantly. That single mechanism is what lets you get good positioning. Anyways, guys, this is it. If you liked it, go ahead and like, go ahead and subscribe. And most importantly, happy stacking.